And we're live. And just like that, from the hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Catt Chat. I am your host, that Tom Cat, and I am joined by the multi-talented, the multifaceted, and I love that every episode I start with the multi-talented and the multifaceted. I have so many talented friends. I have so many wonderful, wonderful friends. And this friend is very near and dear to my heart. They are a cosplayer. They are an actor. They are a former Marine. They are the Smoke, Eric Moran. Thank you so much for being on my show tonight.
Thank you so much, Tom. How you doing today, man?
I'm here.
Hanging in there? With everything that's going on in the world today, you're hanging in there, and I'm glad. I'm very glad about that.
The way that I've been describing it to people, and some people get it, some people are just like, oh, okay, I get it. I don't know if you're like one of those people who get it, but do you remember that scene in Batman Returns when it's Catwoman and Penguin, they're on that little windowsilly area, and they're both drinking the champagne, and they're toasting the fact that Batman's destroyed, and so on and so forth. And Penguin propositions Catwoman for a romantic tryst. And Catwoman basically says, hard pass. And Penguin, in retaliation, hooks his umbrella. Exactly. Hooks his umbrella under her cowl and sends her flying all over the sky, all over Gotham. I'm there. I'm on the umbrella, hanging on for dear life.
Fly, little birdie. Fly, little kitty. Fly.
Exactly. Go to heaven. That's me.
But the good thing is, if you fall, you might fall on some kitty litter.
I hope I fall on some kitty litter, man. Oh, merciful heavens. So that is how I'm doing. How are you doing? How are you holding?
I am doing well. There's a couple days of navigating through a lot of obstacles. I went through some today, in fact, but I try to remain as positive as I can be. Sometimes it's not always easy in dealing with what I deal with, but all in all, I try to stay positive and set an example, because sometimes, and even on your best days, when you have those moments when you want to just lose your cool and just say, I've had those days, and luckily I've just been learning how to navigate. I every day is something new to deal with, and at the same time working towards my motivation again, like getting back on my motivation high, because most of my life has been one big roller coaster. So it's one chapter after the next chapter after the next chapter, new episode, new season, all that kind of stuff. My life is like one big TV show, movie trilogy, everything you can imagine. I'm like, okay, we're on chapter 57 here, and all this stuff. So, and then I'm like, okay, what movie are we on? We're on the fourth installment of the chapter that is called My Life. So, yeah, it is a crazy whirlwind that I try to I hang on for dear life. Like you just talked about I'm hanging on like, woo! There's this meme on TikTok right now. There's this thing on TikTok where the guy, you hear this, wee! Oh my God, wee!
Yeah!
That's me right now. Wee! So I'm like that right now, so, but it's been interesting. Some days I'm learning some new things about myself. Some other days I have my moments where I'm just kind of like, but I never regret. That's the one good thing. I don't have regrets. It's more or less like, wow, whoever thought I would get, this far and where I'm at now. So yeah, but it's been good. It's been good for all intents and purposes. It's been good.
I'm very happy to hear that. I'm glad that you are still doing the thing, more or less.
Yes. And that's a lot of things.
That's a lot. Things could mean literally anything.
Exactly.
So the way I usually do my interviews and whatnot, the way I usually have my guests on the show is that we usually start by asking some questions, but I definitely want to start with like how we met, and I'm pretty sure we met at a WinterCon, I believe it was.
Yes, it was WinterCon. We're talking about
a few years ago.
2014.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, because you made your presence be known. I remember because, in fact, I was either hosting or judging, and you came on stage, and I remember you let your presence be known. And I just remember this, like, and you left an lasting impression on me, and I was just like, all right, this is someone I want to get to know. This is someone I got to be friends with. Because again, I love when one thing I talk about when it comes to cosplay, or when you're cosplaying on stage, as someone who did runway modeling back in the 80s and stuff, I for me, it's all about presentation. It's all about what you bring to life in that costume. And I tell anyone who comes on that stage, I tell them, when you're competing, it's easy to put a nice costume together and say, hi, everybody, I'm in a costume. It's very elaborate. But it's even better when you bring that character to life in that costume and you're like, hello, I am that character. And it speaks in volumes because you'll grab people's attention. For me, that's what you did. Your presence when you got on stage, and I'm not just saying it just to say it. I'm saying when you got your.
If there's one thing I know about you, Eric, you're not the type to blow smoke up another person's behind.
You see, I was trying to keep myself from saying I'm not trying to blow smoke up, but but no, really, it's all about. For me, there are like cosplayers like the Paladins of cosplay, yourself. There have been other great cosplayers that I took the time to want to get to know because it's all about presentation. If you can go on stage and let the world see you and not just be, a fly on the wall and say, I'm wearing a costume. Hi, everyone. But you're like in there and you're letting people know, oh, this is who I am. I'm making my presence be known, recognize the skill set. To me, I'm like, okay, that's someone I want to get to know. That's someone who I want to bring into my camp. And
Paladins of cosplay. That's who is that? That's not Elliot. Oh God, why is his name escaping me? But that's a group of cosplayers, isn't it? That's they all do like armor.
Outlaw, yeah, because I'm kind of part of that group too. Outlaw, you have so many, and I mean Fabian. These guys are the real deal, and they're very humble at the same time too. And I'm using them as an example because, again, like and to a point where I was bringing them in, and I was like, hey, I would ask Law, hey, can you judge a contest with her? Because he knows what to look for. And again, I like humble. It's at the same time you can be this great cosplay. Night Mage is another one that I basically saw
very talented cosplay.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of him because I've seen all the dues he's paid and everything. And it's funny because we were hanging in this basement when he was just kind of on the rise, and I was already kind of established, but he was on the rise and he was doing his thing, and the fact that he lets his presence be known, and again, it's all about presentation. At the same time, you're staying humble. There are a lot of great female cosplayers. There are a lot of great male. I like the cross-gen cosplayers. Again, to me, it's all about your presentation and your expression of your fandom for whatever particular fan you are, like whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, medieval, horror, fantasy, again, TV shows. I'm all about that. And I grew up in that genre and everything else. So to me, I live, sleep, eat, walk, talk fandom. And like I said, I've been doing it since early 80s. And people used to, when it wasn't cool to be a geek, when it wasn't cool to be a cosplayer, or when people looked at me when I would get dressed up in costume.
When conventions weren't mainstream, when these things were not the norm for a while.
Right. And I mean, you have to understand, I was costuming it was called costuming. When I was costuming back in the 80s, I was the odd guy. It's funny because people that went to either high school or elementary school with me, who know me, like who still keeps in contact, they were like, dude, you were like that back in the day. And I laughed because I'm like, yeah, I was. And I was very unapologetic about it. And that was the thing. And so to see it carry over to this major thing now, it is really, again, it really blows me away because whoever thought? It's just now people are catching up to me. It's not me catching up to them; they're catching up to me. So yeah, I can brag a little bit about it because I've been, you know, I'm one of the pioneers of cosplay, pioneers of POC. Before there was a POC, again, it was just a matter of just being a fan and expressing my fandom. And again, you had other people out there, but they weren't really. It was far in between. We didn't have internet. I think if we had internet back in the 80s, it'd be a whole different animal. But because we didn't have it, we didn't know that there were other people like us. That
social media has definitely changed the game. It's definitely been a game changer for a lot of different avenues. And now, you know, nowadays you have like algorithms. You have, when years ago it was just you show up and you're there and you're doing. Right. Now you have to worry about reach. Now you have to worry about making sure that everybody sees you.
Right.
And it's.
Well, no, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tom. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, what it is for me, Tom, and this is the one thing, I get this a lot. People hit me up and they're like, "Oh my God, you're so good. Why aren't you have over 1 million followers?" And I tell people honestly, it's a matter of me just doing things organically. God bless everyone who wants to have over 1 million followers. I have there's nothing wrong with that. For me, I've always done stuff organically. Because I know every person that likes my stuff, I didn't have bots, I didn't have anything but just my skill level and my presentation. And I've always stated this in past interviews and past conversations and past statements. I don't care if I have 1 like, 5 million likes, people that follow me, don't follow me, whatever. As long as I'm happy, I'm doing this for me. I cosplay for me. So the fact that I have people liking my stuff, wow, that means a lot. That's very humbling. I know realistically, I'd rather know that I'm getting all these people organically and that I'm not like, again, this is not knocking anyone. I just don't feel that I have to have, because, and again, I would love to meet everyone that appreciates the work I do. Love to meet them in person. Love to get pictures with them. Even throughout my time doing cons, on the con circuit, appearances and everything else, it is something because, again, it's humbling, but I know I can't reach everyone. So the fact that I can do it organically, getting 1 million followers, I can't see that happening. But then again, everything that I've done in my
stranger things have happened. I mean, you know, if there's one thing I've learned, all it takes is the one thing. All it takes is the one thing to blow you up. And it could be anything. It could literally be anything.
Oh, I find it funny because when I hosted Heroes of Cosplay on Sci-Fi Channel, I was getting, I mean, seriously, they were doing a vote to try to bring me back. If they were doing a season 2, they wanted me to come back on the show.
I think they only did the 1 season, right? That was
right. I did the one season. It was kind of, and that was the thing with Heroes of Cosplay. Heroes of Cosplay was kind of broken into. It was really a season, but it was broken into like season 1.1, season 1.2. I was in the latter part of the season, so I showed up like maybe 3 or 4 episodes, but I let my presence be known.
Of course.
So the thing was that because I remember when I got approached about it. Originally, I got asked by one of the casting directors. They were like, "Hey, would you like to be on the show?" I was like, "Yeah, I would love to be on the show in some kind of capacity." I just did not. I said, "I'm just, as long as it's not scripted, because I'm real, and everyone that knows me in the community knows I keep it 100. I keep it real." And the thing is that I wanted to do something that was me, that fit me. I didn't want to get caught up in the, oh snap, my armband broke. What am I going to do? Commercial break. I want to be in the heart of it, where I got the crowd. And so when I got the opportunity, when it was presented to me, they said, "Well, how would you feel about hosting the contest and everything?" I was like, "Oh yeah." And to be able to talk with the contestants, you know, working with Yaya, Jason David Frank, Ivy Doom Kitty, we're all on stage and we're doing our thing. And it was interesting because you're filming at the same time, all the behind the scenes craziness that was going on. And so it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed working with all of them. And it was interesting because you got over 1,000 people, 2,000 people in the auditorium, and you're like getting them charged up for the contestants that are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a blast. It was a blast, and the fact that people wanted to do a voting thing and bringing me back on the show, if they got picked up another season, it was a person that was like, hey, we should bring you back. You need to come back on the show. Hey, let me ask all the people, what did they think? And they put out a banner and they were like, hey, bring the smoke back for season 2 of Heroes of Cosplayer, season 3. And I'm like,
okay.
I'm with that. Okay.
I'm not going to snuff at it.
Yeah. But, and it's funny because I've done so much and I keep forgetting. I'm like, oh, that's right. I was on Jenny Jones' show for Hot Celebrity Lookalikes because during the time when I was a pro wrestler, and because of my strong resemblance to The Rock back then, this is when we had the sideburns and all. And it was
when he had the mutton chops, when the mutton chops were big.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that particular episode was one of the top rated episodes for that season. And they brought me back the following season for Secret Crushes and all. So I didn't even go further back when I was a pro wrestler and wrestling on TV and everything. And so again, my life is, like I said, it's an episode or a chapter or a season, and it has been crazy, man. So it's always about me. It's always about presentation. I mean, I learned that when I was runway modeling and everything else. So it's all about presentation. It's all.
Whenever you're in the public eye in some capacity, whether it's whether you're represented by somebody, whether you're cast in something, whether you're just working a show of some kind, any time that like creativity is utilized in some way, shape, or form, there's always going to be that level of how am I presenting myself? Right. There's always going to be that level of what do I want people to see when I'm in front of the camera? What do I want people to see? Do I want them to see a character? Do I want them to see the real me? Like, these are the questions that performers have to ask themselves all the time. And, with the advent of TikTok and Instagram Reels, everybody has the opportunity and the ability to be a celebrity. It really all depends on how you look, what you do, how you present. Again, all about presentation, how you present.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a lot of fun. I mean, I talk more of cosplay. Like I talk about my career in cosplay and wrestling and everything when I'm on these platforms. So I try to keep it as positive and encouraging because
of course.
The one thing I try to let people know is don't limit yourself. Do whatever you want to do. Just make sure
the right audience will find you. The right audience will find you.
Right. And like you said, it's about those algorithms. Nowadays, it's all about the hashtags.
Yep.
When you hashtag everything and anything, you'll be surprised who follows you because of those things. So I find that interesting. I met a lot of great people. Some friendships that last forever, some that last for a short span of time, and others that last a lifetime. So, and it's part of life. I had to understand that too, because there are a lot of people that I befriended along my journeys. Some that are still around to this day. Others, whether they had fallouts due to ego or whatever the case may be, it was like, okay, hey, we had a great time. That's on them. I don't wish them any ill will, but hey,
I mean, at that point, that's. We always talk about how accepting, how understanding, how positive the cosplay community is, even the actor community, the voice actor community, the wrestling community. We all try to encourage positivity. We all try to encourage the good things about it. Yeah. But there really is an underbelly to these things that we either don't like to talk about or just sometimes don't feel comfortable talking about because it paints the community in a negative light. Yeah. And that's the last thing that we want to do. But it is a reality that, yes, in any type of creative form, there is always going to be some level of ego. There's going to be some level of what is spun through the rumor mill. There's always going to be these opportunities for bad things to happen. It really is a question of how you look at it. And the reality is, until bad happens to you, don't worry about what's happening to everybody else.
Right.
Unless you want to try to fix the situation, don't get involved where you don't need to.
Or if something bad happens to you, be upfront. Own it and move on. Yeah, own your shit, because the one thing I've learned, I'm like, look.
Accountability. It's all about accountability.
Yeah, and like, you know, I tell people all the time, just own your shit. I mean, whether, you know, did you learn something from it? Did you become a better person from it? Okay, move on. Because the one thing I don't get caught up in is that drama. And when someone brings drama to my table, I could easily blast on people if I choose to, but I just choose not to. Why? Because it's not worth my energy, nor are they. Once you make it a point in my world, once you make it a point to distance yourself, unfriend yourself, whatever the case may be. One, I never go on my page and say, I'm unfriending this person. I'm unfriending a slew of people. Guess what? If you're no longer on my friends list, it's either one or two things. Either one, I'm making changes to my page, as simple as that. Or two, I just like, hey, you know, we're not clicking like that and we don't talk as much. And I'm not going to be, you know, other people. One recently, I went through something with someone and they were going off, and I'm like, well, why the hell are you going off? And they're blah, 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 blah. And I just said, okay, guess what? Ain't my circus, ain't my monkey. As a friend of mine used to say, ain't my circus, ain't my monkey. Guess what? That's on you. But there's no, can we be friends again? No. Oh, no. Keep it going. I wish you all the best. Don't wish you ill will.
All people deserve a second chance with somebody else.
Exactly. And again, that's the one thing. I think that's why I try to create that good karma, not bad karma, but good karma. Because when you don't wish ills, you can, like, there's been people that to this day I will never understand what the hell they were thinking or going through. But I'm like, look, we all have our stories. We're all the hero in our own story. We're never the villain in our story. So the way I look at it is, hey man, you know, that's why I try to never wish ill will on anyone. I might have my differences
because it'll end up coming back to you. If you wish ill will on anybody, it will always somehow get back to you somehow.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why there's people I might not like, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care for this person, but I'm not going to turn around and make their life. If I'm doing an event or something like that, I'm not going to talk crap about them because again, it's expected that the person is going to talk crap about them. I don't do that because I'm not built like that. And I rather just have those moments where I said, okay, we had some good moments. We had some great moments. We did some stuff. We had a fallout or whatever. That's not to say that you can't come back and say, hey, man, well, I'm sorry. Or, hey, I'm sorry. Hey, okay, cool. We're cool. I wish you all the best. Still don't wish you ill will. I just will never be as close with that person as I might have been in the beginning. And I had to learn that. And I learned that also with me, if I mess up with someone and they end up the friendship or whatever the case may be, I have to be able to take it on the chin if I messed up with them. But the one thing, like I said again, I try to be as transparent as I can be. I think one of my biggest flaws was and is that, as someone brought to my attention, when I take on a leadership position or when I take charge on something, that military side kicks in. I'm all about taking care of business because the end result it'll show. It'll show. And I make it a point to make people aware of my team or my squad or whoever, hey, you know, if I seem like this, don't take it personal. Understand, I'm trying to take care of business. If I do something to upset you, pull me aside, tell me. There's been a few that have and others that are too scared to because they think I'm going to just come down on them. I had to learn that because someone had to sit me down and say, look,
I mean, not for nothing, you do have a very intimidating presence. But that is definitely something that you could use to your advantage.
Yeah.
You definitely have this aura of, not that you're better than everybody, but you have this aura about you where nobody will want to cross you. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also, man, it's one of those things, Tom, that I believe in the idea that, hey, man, we can do this. We can do so much, but we got to put that effort in. And I'm one of those people that don't like sleeping on stuff. If I know that I can be 5 steps ahead on the chessboard, I'm going to do what I got to do to be 5 steps ahead. At the same time, I'm going to make sure that all those people on my squad are going to shine along with me. The one thing I try to do is make my people shine. So, but there's a process, there's a thing. And the one thing I try to tell, don't kiss my ass. Don't be a yes man or yes girl. Tell me tell me there's something you don't like. I don't have no problem with that. It's when you don't say it and then you wait till the last minute is when I'm going to have an attitude.
That's when you're going to catch an attitude.
Yeah, because I'm like that's like someone putting together an outfit for you or a dress for you, and they know that you're getting ready. You're like, look, I got to have this makeup stuff ready. I got to have the wig ready. I got to have my presentation is everything.
Yeah.
And this person, for whatever reason, decide to not take care of the dress right away. Now, normally you have that dress ready to go. Like your event is on a Monday. You have that dress already ready the Wednesday before. So you're already 5 days early. But this person is like, oh, I'll get it done. I'll get it done the day before and we'll do a fitting and all. You're like, no, I want to get it done. I want to get it fitted. I want to take pictures. I want to feel what it's like to take it on, put it off.
Yeah.
And so imagine if your person on your team, knowing now you are, decide to say, Tom, I'm bringing this to you on, say, Saturday night late when you needed this on Thursday night. So again,
it's funny you say that because I was a wardrobe supervisor for a couple of off-Broadway shows. And if it takes a lot, it takes a village to create one of those looks. And as cosplayers, you know, we're very fortunate because we're creating our own pieces.
Yeah.
We know what it's like to get in and out of that garment. We know the amount of things that go into it. So I completely and totally understand exactly.
And also, well, you know, it's just I use that carrying over when I do anything, when I do film, like when I'm doing, like I was in the TV series Dispatches from Elsewhere on AMC.
Yes,
I was one of the extras and all. I made a point to get there 3 hours before call time.
Yep,
I'm one of the first ones in there. But yet the benefits were, they were like, hey, this guy's been there. He's already wearing what we asked them to wear. We didn't have to go through wardrobe change. Hey, let's put this guy in this scene. And they're giving me all this. And it was crazy because when I was in 21 Bridges, Chadwick Boseman's movie, when they filmed it here, and I got there, the same thing, came in early. I looked like a police detective. They were like, okay, and I'm doing scenes with Keith David. And thinking that it was a one-day thing, the producers contacted me. They were like, we want to bring you back. And I'm like, I didn't take time off from the day off. I'm like, oh, crap. Had I known. But again, all because I'm being on time. I'm being early. And I practice.
You're prompt, you're kind, I mean, that's acting business 101.
Yeah.
If you want to have more airtime, if you want to have more if you want to have more airtime, if you want to have a better relationship with these producers, these directors, anybody involved heavily in the production, be kind.
Yeah.
Show up, show out, be courteous.
Yes.
And just be completely and totally punctual with yourself.
So I try to carry that in everything I do, whether it's working on the cons, doing the shows, putting together guests, whether I'm doing, whether I'm appearing in a TV series or a movie, I make it a point, or working on cosplay. If I know I'm doing an event, or if I'm planning an event, or I'm in charge of an event, or I got a filming production, or I'm doing a TV, whatever, I always make it a point to use that mentality, the same structural mentality in everything that I do. Now, some people get it. Some people, it's something that everyone will like, okay, I understand this is why he does and why he's where he's at. But some people are like, oh, well, I was kind of hurt because, and again, not everyone is built like that. And also I had to realize that not everyone came from that same or similar upbringing where they have that discipline. It's all a matter of discipline. So I try to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more understanding. And when I apply that within my everyday life, I find that it makes things a little bit different and makes things a little bit easier, where the younger version of me on impulse would be like, why can't you get the stuff done? And now I'm a little bit more reserved and a little bit more like, okay. And again, I'm still a work in progress. I tell people all the time, I am not perfect. I do not walk on water. I do make mistakes, and I'm humble enough to take my mistakes as long as you bring
it really is always important to acknowledge that you are human, and that as humans, we are prone to making mistakes. Nobody is infallible. Even in any aspect of life, there is no such thing as one perfect individual unless you're me. But that's besides the point.
But, I think that's important because I find in a lot of interviews with cosplayers or entertainers or people that are in the world of cosplay or entertainment in general.
The biz.
Yeah, basically, a lot of them don't talk about their flaws or how ways to improve themselves or what they can do to improve themselves as an individual, as an actor or a cosplayer or a model. And these are things again, like you and I'm being real. Tom, the first thing you asked me was like, "Hey, what can we talk about? What we can't talk about?" And I'm like, "Look, I'm very transparent. Nothing. We can talk about whatever. If it's too deep, I might say, it's a little too deep. I can't talk about it. But the one thing is, if more people were transparent about their flaws and their strengths at the same time, what they're doing and they're willing to do to work on those areas to be a better individual, I think the world would be a little bit less complex.
It's the damnedest thing. I'm going to be very honest about myself, not with myself. For years, I said to myself, I don't need therapy. I'm fine. I'm okay. I don't need to have somebody to lean on or talk to. And then I was with an old boyfriend, and I was like, maybe I could benefit from a little bit of therapy.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment where I said, am I really doing this? Am I doing this thing? And then I started doing therapy. 2.5, 3 years later, here I am still doing therapy because everybody needs that sort of neutral party to confide in. Everyone needs that sort of how do I say this? Everyone can benefit from having somebody to talk to in that capacity.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with acting. You could say until you're blue in the face, I don't need coaching. I've had all the coaching I need. It's always good to have a refresher course.
Right.
When it comes to cosplay, I still say to myself, I don't need to take a sewing class. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. It couldn't hurt to at least make the effort to say, maybe I should try and do something a little bit more scholastically.
Right.
And it's having that sort of honesty with yourself that a lot of people are really lacking.
Right. And I think for me, since you were being so upfront about it, for me, as someone who deals with anxiety, depression, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. And I have a lot of other stuff that goes on with me. I've been in therapy for the last 5 years. And I'm going to tell you right now, on a personal note, it does make a difference when you have someone. And I share that with the masses because a lot of times people think, that person has it going on. That person is a strong person. You could be the strongest person in the room, but behind closed doors, you could be the most weakest person. And I'm just not, the way how I look at things, I'm like, people need to hear this because they know that, these guys are bigger than life. Like you and I are bigger than life. Like on stage and all, we're bigger than life people. So it's cool when people can a little bit more relate and say, wow, they go through their moments. They're more human and it's more relatable and they can relate a little bit better. And it's encouraging. Yes. I tell anyone, if you're in a position when you can get therapy,
get it.
You have your issues and you're honest with yourself, see a therapist. Or I think I would be the person I am right now if it wasn't for said therapy and recognizing my issues and recognizing when I go through my depression or when I go through my anxiety. And as the older I've gotten, I'm 51 years old. And again, there's no shame about it. Again, I've been dealing with this for a long time and to realize that and acknowledge that, okay, I got these issues going on. What do I do? Do I just sit around, use alcohol, drugs to be my therapy? Or do I actually go to a professional and get this taken care of and talk to someone? And it's been the greatest thing that I can ever do. As someone who doesn't drink and doesn't smoke, it's my way of making sure that never happens because I have that. It's important. It's important. I don't think
your mental health your health, regardless of whether it's mental or physical or emotional, should always come first.
Yes.
And there should not be one thing that takes precedence over your own wellness.
Right.
And, you know, for a while, there was a point where I did put my wellness on the back burner, as I'm sure there was a point in time when you put your wellness on the back burner. And it affects you in a way that you're not prepared for, especially when you like have that realization of, no, I think I need to check myself. I need to like have this inward conversation with myself and say, okay, we need to do something about this before something really disastrous.
I think for me, it was a thing where it was because I was always the nice guy and I was holding back a lot of stuff. And this goes all the way back when things happened to me when I was in service. It carried over with me because I kind of held my tongue. I bit my lip. I did not.
You didn't want to ruffle feathers. You didn't want to ruffle feathers.
And at the same token, especially when it came to family, and one day I just kind of exploded, and I remember my mom, God bless her, my mom said to me, you really need to talk to somebody about this, because I was exhaling, I was, and I was like, you know, she said, you really need to talk to somebody. And once I started getting an understanding and then finding out this other stuff that happened with me, and I'm like, okay, it's a lot of baggage, a lot of shit that I had to, you know, and I'm still dealing with, but I'm handling it better than I did maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And so that's the thing. We all deal with our stuff. It's a matter of how we deal with it. Again, I think it's important for people to share this, because to let people know that they're not alone, that, you know, there are people that are going through 10, 200 times worse than what you and I have probably ever been through. But to share that and to let people know, because some people might say, well, I would never share that because I don't think that's a personal thing. I'm like, well, okay, that's you. If that works for you, I'm not going to knock you. And that's the thing. And I'm going to address this too. While I'm on the subject, I'm going to address this, especially in the world of cosplay, and especially in the world of fandom. You got the Snyder Cut coming out. You got the Avengers movie and all this stuff. Star Wars, Star Trek. Let me tell you all something right now. And I'm addressing this to the audience. It's all right to not agree with someone that doesn't like something that you like. It's all right if you like Star Trek and they don't like it. That's all right. Let them be. It is not your job to make them change their mind. That goes with everything. You apply that knowledge and you apply that with everything else, whether it's politics and all. It's called common sense. Everyone, listen to what I just said. Common sense. So in other words, if I don't like something that you like, why am I going to come to your page or come to you and say, I don't look? First off,
I don't agree with this.
Let's keep it 100% real. We got a lot of this going on, and I'm going to show y'all. We got a lot of this. Keyboard warrior. Half of these people that do the keyboard warrior crap, a lot of them will never step to you, me, or anybody because they don't have the heart enough to tell you to your face. Now, me, I don't have a problem telling you to your face, behind you, whatever. But the one thing I've learned that it's all right to have a differences of opinion. We've had differences of opinion going on for decades and eons. Why all of a sudden now do you have to feel the need to say, I'm going to change your mind because you're going to like what I like and all this? Remember, when we were geeks and nerds, we were like, you know, we stood out.
It didn't matter what you liked.
And we liked what we liked. We didn't care what other people thought. I was very unapologetic. The thing is that if you're carrying that over as a nerd, geek, or whatever, and you're on social media, have a tougher skin. If a person don't like it, like I got in one person's ass, and I was like, yeah, I'm happy the Snyder Cut is coming. Well, you know the Snyder Cut, and I said, and I was very nice in a really condescending way. Who the F asked you? And I didn't ask for your opinion. If I wanted it, I would have asked. Well, why you got to be like that? It is what it is. Take it for what it is. and guess what? If I lost my friendship over that, that's all right. That's on them, because who gave you the right to go on my page to tell me what I can't like? You must be out of your fucking mind.
I think, and again, it ties back into what I had mentioned earlier, that social media has just created this sort of atmosphere where, and I've had conversations like this on Cat and Kristen when we were doing that show. There are people that are just going to give you unwanted criticisms. And it's like, you know, it's one of those things where you have to say, if you think you can do a better job, then do it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing on, I'll mention my friend Nate. His friend Cosplay and he has his page Cosplay and Comics. You know who Nate is.
Yeah.
And every time he posts a picture of me as Raven, it will always get some type of hatred. It will always get some type of people saying, that's disgusting, that's not Raven. And then on the other token, you'll get people who are just like, oh my God, slay queen, you're an icon, you're an idol. And it's one of those things where I have to stop and say, it's all behind a wall.
Yeah, it is.
It's all behind a wall.
Yeah.
There's going to be nobody. If I'm walking around in a convention in my black leotard with my long legs and my long cape, there's going to be no one who can tell me different in person. It's all behind the wall.
And the one thing is, when you cosplay,
and that's where you have to leave it.
Right. Well, one thing I tell anyone when you cosplay, you got to go in here. You got to have a strong backbone. That's first off when you cosplay, because the main thing is, no matter how precise, how accurate, whatever the case may be, you're never going to make everyone happy. You might have all these people love you, and that one person that doesn't like you,
it'll ruin your damn day.
Yeah, you're gonna be so focused on it. I had to tell a particular cosplayer who I really love her cosplays, everything else, and I had to tell her, like, look, are you cosplaying for you or are you cosplaying for them? Because they were criticizing her because of her size, and I'm like, girl, first off, you're slamming. And I'm like, are you going to let, and I don't know why cosplayers have to do this. A lot of them that we know, they need to post, look what so-and-so said about me. Why am I going to give you the clout, the time of day, or that kind of energy? I'm not. I'm going to just act like you don't exist. Yeah. And just be like, blip, delete, block, delete, block. I don't even talk about you. I'm not giving you, and that's why I don't have that kind of drama on my page. Because guess what? You can bring it.
You don't see it.
Yeah, and you can bring it. And there's one or two people that there was one person who really was breaking his neck. But then, you know, I when I found out that this person has a lot of issues, I just said, you know what? This person's a little bit touched. I'm like this. God bless him. Hey, and I just kind of just blocked him, ignore, and it drives him insane because I'm not responding to him, and that's what's killing even more. I'm not responding.
You're not feeding the attention monster.
Right?
You're not feeding.
He's hit me up on my social media platforms, and I just kind of laugh, like, dude, go for it, but I'm not going to talk about you, nor am I going to give you the clout. You got your little moment in the sun. Go ahead, because I guarantee you, if you saw me in person, you'd be turning the other direction, and that's one of the reasons why. But again, and all because you can't understand why you can't have cosplayers bending to your will. And I don't understand, because all I did was ask these cosplayers to do, and I'm like telling them, no, you don't do that. If a person says no, that means no. It's as simple as that. And then I kept telling this person, and then the person didn't want to listen. I was like, okay, I'm done. I got nothing else to say to you. And then, I don't understand what, and I'm like, we're done.
We're
done.
done.
We said.
Conversation
and
is
that drove them
over.
insane because I didn't respond to them. And so, and these are some of the stories I share. But the one thing is, I learned that I won't say there's ever been bad experiences. There's just been my good experiences, and then there's been those experiences, things that a lot of times, and this is why I wanted to be on the show. And when you were like, hey, nothing should be taboo on, I'm like, hey, I like that. I like it when you can. So, and for me, it's therapeutic too. The older I've gotten, the more I'm like, couldn't care less. As long as I'm not hurting no one. The one thing is, I tell people all the time, you can practice whatever you want to practice. You can think about what you want to think. You can have a whole different mindset. As long as you're not out here hurting kids, hurting anyone, and most importantly, hurting yourself, do what you want to do. If you want to say the earth is made of green cheese, God bless you, go for it. If you want to say that, hey, you know, I can run at the speed of light, go for it. I'm not going to knock you.
Fun.
Talk about. Come on. I'm like, again, life is too short. I realize when I have fewer days ahead of me than I do behind me. So guess what? I'm just going to have fun. do what I want to do what I love doing. And if people can get a little something out of it and carry it over to the next person, or throw the rope over the wall to help someone else, or encourage or inspire someone else to do stuff, hey, you know, when it comes to cosplay, for example, everyone thinks that if you're a cosplayer, that you have to do everything yourself. You have to build the costume yourself. You have to paint it yourself. I try to show people that I have teams of people that help me build stuff. There's some things in cosplay I'm very good at when it comes to detailing, prop making, and all that. But then there's other people I know that I love working with or collaborating with that are way more talented than I am. But it's even more cooler when you can put together a cosplay and you said, wow, I worked with these great people to put this piece of art together. The one thing that people don't realize when it comes to cosplay is that we are artists. We are artists. We bring 2D characters in the 3D world, whether they're on silhouette, whether they're on the big tube, whether they're on comic or in paper. We bring these characters to life, and we bring our own style and technique to it. If you can have a person, so I tell everybody all that all the time. You're an artist. I'm an artist. We just are on a different level than your traditional artists. So when
you know, it was funny. I had who was I having a conversation with recently? I was having a conversation recently with somebody where we were discussing the side of the world of art has been put on the back burner. Everything else has been pushed to science has been pushed to the front side, but art is necessary for a society to progress. And it's just so interesting to see this. I'm trying to think of the word for it. This my thesaurus runneth dry. But it's just so interesting to see how art is still being made despite all of these obstacles in art's way. And one of the things that I'm so happy about is that there are cosplayers who are working with, whether the photographers are close friends and family, whether the photographers are people that I'm familiar with, that are going to shows, doing things that are socially distanced. There are performances happening all over the place, whether they're on Zoom or socially distanced in person. I just read an article that says that Shakespeare in the Park is coming back, I think, for like a socially distanced performance. That's brilliant. Like, I love that art in all its forms is still moving forward despite everything that has stood in its way.
Well, you know, I think during COVID, I won't say art diminished. I'll say more or less creativity came to play.
Yeah.
Creativity came to play in the sense that you had to figure out how to work. Like, give an example. You know, I have a gaming show, the Pastor Controller. We normally do our shows live here in my little basement studio. We had to come up with an idea of how we can do the show via COVID and doing a virtual. Not only did we come up with a new format, but like my buddy Mark Knuckles, who is our program director, we now have an intro. Okay, I'm sitting here. Yeah, I can't go out as much. I can't do this, but I'm going to go out in the backyard, go paint, go detail. I must be working on, right now I got 10 cosplays that I've been working on since last year, okay? Then on top of that, and works in progress, but then on top of that, filming, writing a film project where I'm practicing social distancing, and yet getting the attention of producers from like the Orville, my Orville series, Planetary Stuff, getting the attention of the producers and some of the actors from the show, including Seth MacFarlane, because the fact that we're still carrying on throughout COVID. I'm coming up with creative ways to keep my mind going, at the same time practicing social distancing and not going a damn place and doing it all at home. Yeah. And and the most I might do is go outside. Because where I live in an area where you got a lot of parks and all. I'm like, okay, when I cosplay, I did Swamp Thing, and we just like, okay, we put the costume together, and I said, okay, I'm going to go out here, get viral. And so, and again, but I had help. I did not do this by myself. I always acknowledge, and so even though like everyone knows, I have an event I do once. Oh no, I do it like maybe 2 to 3 times a year. SmokeCon. I wanted to get you.
I was waiting for you to mention SmokeCon.
SmokeCon. For those who don't know, it was a thing I put together. It was a photo shoot I put together way back in 2010. And back in 2010, I was working with my buddy, Serious Photo. That's his name. And we were like, hey, we were doing these photo shoots, and I said, hey, let's have some friends come over. Then 5 friends, then 10 friends, and then over 30 friends. And throughout the years, and I wanted to help out other cosplayers that can't afford professional photographers to get pictures done. We would give these pictures to those cosplayers and do whatever they want with them. And it expanded into something very big. And now it's great to see other people doing their versions of SmokeCon, which I love. I'm not mad at them. I love it because this way you're bringing people together. You're getting together.
You're creating. You are facilitating. You are facilitating a network of people to become friendly with other people.
Exactly. The downside is I haven't been able to do that this year. The closest thing I gotten was when we were filming, and that was the closest thing I got to doing remotely, even close to having I won't even call it SmokeCon. It was a okay. It was a so again, and we were planning on doing a big Masters of the Universe. Myself, on cosplay, who does He-Man and all these other great cosplays. He and I were going to do this big group last year and everything else. We had to put that on hold, and that's still happening. But again, I just miss the idea of bringing people together. I get, it's not that I get a high off of it, but it's great to be able to help other people
with that person. I want these people to work together. And you facilitate these connections. You say to yourself, these two would be great together. I can see these two making like great content together. And it's really one of those things where you create these sort of business relationships with people that'll either bloom and grow into something, or it'll just be what it is.
Yeah. It has happened like that. And I've sat back and been like, and again, I don't get nothing out of it. I get I have no hidden agenda.
You're not the type of person that'll say, oh, well, I made that happen. They need to credit me all the time.
If they want to acknowledge it, they can acknowledge it. But everyone will tell you, like, hey, Smoke brought this person together and they had this event. And I'm like, hey, if you can network that I looked up to coming up, that looked out for me like that, I called the term throwing the rope over the wall, and that looked out for me and gave me an opportunity or a chance or network me to where I'm in a position where I can help other people network them and be like the big brother, senpai, what have you. And it's funny because, I get that a lot lately, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but it was weird. It's weird for me because I'm like, man, it felt like yesterday I was the kid on the block that was trying to get in and learn.
And you blink, and suddenly you're the senpai now.
Yeah, and I'm just like, how the hell that happened? Like, what? I'm like, damn, I thought being a dad and all that was enough. I'm like, whoa, okay, didn't see that come. Being a granddad on top of that, and I'm like upfront and honest with people and transparent, because people need to hear these things, so they won't think that, oh, well, I got this image built up about this person, they're flawless, and I'm like, I'm far from flawless. I'm a good person, but I'm far from flawless. If you can accept these things about me that are, I tell people that all the time. So, and then, when it comes to Adia cosplay, my wife, who cosplays with me, again, people think that everything's always perfect, and it's not always perfect, but I just make it a point to try to be the best husband I can be. Was that?
She puts you in your place if she needs to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, and I do like this. That's nice. I can hear her now. That was our corgi. No, let me stop. No, but when it comes to
she is very petite. Your wife is very petite, Eric.
You know what? And I'm gonna be honest with you, and my wife will tell you this. I never thought I would end up marrying someone petite. I always thought I was going to marry someone who was going to be as tall as me or close to my height. And so she was already cute. Now she's got dark personality. So, but, you know, again, the one thing is, and we don't always have great days. You know, we have our days,